introduce yourself to us, man.
Do I look at the camera?
Yeah, let's just talk, and then you edit. So,
for people that have been on the rock, I am Mr. Don Tripp. I've been doing this for quite some time. Right now, it's picking up, so we're enjoying it. We're gonna keep riding until the wheels fall off of it.
Okay, well, tell me this, man. Earlier, I was reading Hip Hop DX. I was staff correspondent, and they ran a story. In addition to the videos we posted, we ran a story where Dr. Dre is quoted, specifically mentioning you and J. Cole.
Yeah.
You know, he went on to elaborate on J. Cole a little bit, but put it this way to anyone that reads, hangs on to every word that Dre says.
Yeah.
You know, he said you've been to the lab with him. Now, tell me what that was like.
It was quite of an experience, actually. Of course, I come from listening to Dr. Dre, NWA, Ice Cube, and all that. So to just be in the studio with him, just to be able to just meet him was an experience in itself. I actually recorded a record working with him, and doing that record, he is he precise, very precise. Like it's a certain sound he's looking for. And he go till he find that sound, I can rock with that. That's something I can.
I've heard that before about Dre, and it's almost like standard.
Yeah.
To say about him, but let me ask you this: who set that up? Can you talk about your deal a little bit and First Family situation, Cool Dre?
As far as the deal go, I met Frank from First Family, and I met him in Memphis. I met him through my DJ Larry Live. When I met Frank, Frank hit me to the situation he had, or the relationship he had with Cool and Dre. And when they flew me down to Miami, and then I met Cool and Dre, and from meeting them, and I actually recorded a couple records with them, before the deal. So when we got to know each other a little bit, and the chemistry worked. So from that, we felt like it was a package deal. It was something we could present. So we took it to Interscope, and from us taking it to Interscope,
what was the time frame on this? When this happened?
We started like September of last year, and we locked the deal in probably like February of this year. So it sounds like a lot of months, but that's actually quite fast. Yeah, it's spinning.
So you're from Memphis?
Yeah, of course, Memphis, Tennessee.
When I think of Memphis and Tennessee in general, I'm thinking of Buck.
Buck?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So yeah. I normally hear 3-6 and Yo got it, but that's
well, that's the thing. I want to kind of expand that a little bit because Young Buck was part of. As a unit, all that. So in Interscope, obviously, I've heard his record, Look the World at Interscope, and it was a priority for him at that point, even after.
Yeah.
His first album was Platinum. So forget Buck for a minute, but talk about what your grind was like in Memphis.
Of course, it was difficult. Being as Memphis is one of them spots, like you just said, you can only name a handful of acts that come from Memphis and succeeded from Memphis. So with that being said, of course, it's a lot difficult. It's a lot more difficult to make it from Memphis than to make it from Atlanta or Houston or Miami and a lot of more other places. Not to say it's not hard to make it there. I'm just saying, it was difficult to make it from Memphis with it not being an outlet for that. So it made it harder. But me personally, I prefer the harder way. I don't know why I'm wired like that, but I prefer to go the road less traveled. And it worked out. I ain't had to move to another state to do it. So I'm proud of it.
Let's get into the substance of your music. Let's talk about the Letter to My Son.
Yeah.
That's a very personal record. Yeah. And I'm hearing the cadence. You can hear Marshall in there, and that's because I can hear you.
I appreciate that.
And it touches people in many ways.
Yeah.
Actually, let me ask you this. So, let's speak about that record in general, and actually how the label and Cool and Dre are known for making hits, and that's not necessarily a song with that kind of heavy substance. That's not something that was like a party jam or some shit.
First with that record, I actually had that record recorded before a deal was ever presented. Like that was the record that got the deal. As far as the substance, I feel like that's one of my personal records, but I got a lot of personal records. That was just happened to be the one at that moment that was on the internet, and they saw it, they grabbed to it, and from that, of course, Cool and Dre heard more music. The world ain't heard everything. That's the kind of artist I am. I like to keep it personal. I feel like the only story I can tell you is my story. I couldn't tell you your own story.
Do you have a lot of records in the vault, like that you've done in Memphis? Were you on the mixtape grind, or how before you were?
Before I was signed,
before your brush with the labels, yeah.
Before I was signed, I mean, I can't do numbers, but I'll say this: I passed the 1,000 song mark in 2005. That's one of the. That's one of the things I can do the best is record. So I got too much music. If it's even possible to have too much music. But yeah.
Okay. So how are things being set up now? Where you're here on tour with Game, opening for
right now we setting up the buzz. I'm doing everything I can possibly do. The rest ain't what I'm looking for. I've been wrestling for 26 years, so right now we doing everything we can do to keep the grind up and actually, like I said, build a buzz. Like being out here is a whole new venue for me. I've been to LA a million times. Well, I've been to the West Coast a million times, but actually performing out here is my first go around, and to be in the House of Blues my first go around. So we're pretty much taking step by step to get as far as we can.
So as far as your debut album, it already has a name, right?
Help Is On The Way.
So what's that shaping up to be? I mean, release dates can always change, but is there producers you need to be in love with, or collaborations you're gonna? I
mean, it's pretty much already wrapped up. Now it's down to the the technical part of it. But we got I got records with Boy Wonder, with the Renegades, with T-Minus, and actually my favorite producer to work with outside of Cool and Dre was the Justice League. I got I want to say 3 from the Justice League. Again, it's technical, so if you see the album and it's just 2 or 1, or if it's all 3, that's part of the politics of the nature of the business. But I work with a lot of producers. I felt like that was the one thing I wanted to do. I didn't want to do my first album and you hear every artist I can collaborate with. I want you to hear the music. I want you to hear my music and get a feel for who I am and the music that I make, instead of going to get 1,000 features. So I actually don't have any features on the album other than CeeLo at this point. Other than that, I'm seeking a couple R&B features, but as far as rappers, I'm gonna keep that gate closed.